in the parking lot in Orland, man. I'm gonna sit still that way. You know.
Mr. Dalton, you good? All right, cool. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna do introductions again. I'm gonna go ahead and start with you, Dr. Allen. Go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Dr. Michael Allen. I'm a career educator, spent most of my time as a principal for elementary middle school. I'm now a full-time coach and mentor to various principals and superintendents across the country. Very, very excited to be in this space to share some space with brothers who are talented, but also to serve as affinity and support for each other, recognizing how uniquely different it is for us, men and Black men in particular, to navigate the field of education. So thank you for the offer, Q. Appreciate it.
Okay. Mr. Richmond.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Daniel Richmond. 20-year educator. Been classroom teacher, MTSS coordinator, a school counselor. Currently serving as in the role of an assistant principal in a K through 8 school district. My time in education has been amazing, but also eye-opening. Just how the field, I say the field is kind of played, right, in reference to like politics and money and things of that nature. However, the role we play as Black men is just so important within education. So I appreciate this platform for us gentlemen being able to have this conversation to kind of speak on that. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Dalton.
My name is Mr. William Dalton, also known in the rap entertainment world as the Boy Illinois. I have served, this is my 7th year in education. I've been a paraprofessional, and then the next year I became an assistant dean of students, and then a dean of students. Served high school, K through 8. Just to make what these brothers said, it's just very important for us to for the kid, especially the younger kids, to see us in action, problem solving, and having that masculine presence when a majority of our institutions are filled with that feminine presence. I want to give it a balance, and I appreciate platforms like this where we can continue this talk and this discussion.
Okay. Mr. Turner.
Drill Turner, year 9 in education, served in various roles from paraprofessional to a special education teacher, dean of SPED, currently now working on my doctorate of education. I think this platform is so important just for us to be able to connect, to deconstruct some of those myths that Black men don't connect on positive, constructive manners, and being able to just provide a voice to that 3% that we're a part of. So shout out to you, man, for even just setting the platform.
All right, cool. So the link is in the chat if you guys would like to share it to your social medias. And again, I want to welcome you guys to the Black Male Educator Series, The Power of Perspective. Just super excited, man, to have all of you guys, to be able to chime in on some of the matters of the heart, man, when it comes to education and academics from a Black male's perspective. So we're going to jump straight in and go forward. So I want to know, I'm going to start with Mr. Turner. I want to know what factors do you think contribute to a disproportionate education of Black students? You might be having some technical difficulties, but anybody can chime in at this point. Go ahead.
I'm happy to go first.
Go ahead, Dr. Allen.
I think there are several things. I'm sure many of the other brothers will touch on to them as well. The biggest thing is the misunderstanding of how folks in our community, but I'm just going to focus particularly on Black boys, process and show and convey their intellectual capacity, right? Like teachers oftentimes are expecting us to sit down in this chair and fill out a piece of paper to show the depth of our knowledge. The reality is we might be able to draw, we might be able to record, we might be able to stand up and perform, but just finding a system that allows us to fully express the magnitude of what we know and are able to do. There's a very rigid set of parameters that historically has been going on in our education system. And so as a result, oftentimes the data that you're seeing for Black boys and even Black men, right? Like the reality is, if you give me a chance to get up and give the speech, you're going to get a full range of what I know and am able to do. But if you ask me to write an essay or you ask me to take a test, I'm probably going to do fine, but it's not going to show you the full level of my prowess. So I think that's the biggest piece, along with what a couple of brothers had alluded to in the introduction. This is, we are working, whether you think about our lens or student Black males, in a field that's predominantly driven by women, meaning that the majority of our field is women. So we default to the way that many women process information, and that doesn't fully cater to our abilities and what we're able to do. So I would start with that.
I wholeheartedly agree with that response. I think that knowing that it is important to have differentiation in deliverance of assignments to certain individuals, because teachers can preach all day. All the kids learn differently. And if they all learn differently, they're gonna all deliver their information differently as well and communicate differently too. So we gotta definitely bear with them. I'm gonna throw that back at you, Mr. Turner. I don't know if you heard what I asked. It was what are the factors that contribute to a disproportionate setting for academics for Black students?
Jay Clark over at Thornton, he had a song, man. He said essentially he was saying like a lion and a shark is a king in their own atmosphere. In the water, the shark is the man. On land, the lion is the man. But if you flip flop their positionality, they lose their power and their dominion. And I've done a lot of reading on Dr. Amos Willis, and Dr. Amos Willis talks about like the education of Black boys and Black students and how the curricula is even designed to not educate us. The fourth grade, third grade theory on how students become disengaged at the third grade, like, so it's so many extrinsic and external factors that create the disengagement from our students, and then just the lack of creativity of a lot of teachers. Like, we come into the profession, a lot of people come in and just looking at this as a paycheck, and summer's off, and you lose that creativity and that spark of that love, like a lot of us receive from teachers and educators to make us want to be engaged. So I think it's just a byproduct of the system and then the people who are running the systems.
Okay. I got another question. This question is for Mr. Dalton. What school practices support or undermine Black students?
Right now, what I'm seeing is the lack of consequence. It's a lot of heavy on the statistics say this and the statistics say that. But there's a lot of different various factors. The statistics may highlight one or two ailments that student may have, but they might have seven or eight. That student or that population that's going through those things. So I've seen personally where a student set the bathroom stall on fire, not like set a roll of toilet paper on fire. And for me, that's you got to get a staunch consequence. I'm gonna show love, but hey, you need to understand the how concerning this is. First of all, you're bringing something you can light to school. You can light in the school. So that student basically one day in school, and that was light. And it's the statistics don't want to have many suspensions on this. So like that right there to me, and knowing, because when I at a high school level, they'll tell you if they do what you're like, yeah, we know nothing really gonna happen to us. I'm just keep doing the same thing. So if you're not setting no type of set if you don't have certain boundaries, especially when they come from home with no discipline or boundaries, and if you're not setting that at school level when they're young, then they're gonna be behaving the way that our teens are now. So I see a lot of undermining as far as giving consequences, giving the right types of consequences that make sense culturally with our students, especially our boys. What the boys do, this might be frowned upon, but again, we come from unconventional backgrounds and unconventional settings. So unconventional things is gonna happen. Sometimes the boys shoot their ones in the bathroom. 15 seconds, y'all got it in. All right, y'all done? Cool. All right. And that put out a lot of fires for us that didn't linger on. Like, hey man, go ahead, do what you got to do. You got 15 seconds, come out of that. Y'all good? All right. This better not happen again. Our girls, it really didn't happen in that same form of fashion due to social media and things of that nature. But yeah, a lot of not being able to give consequences that actually fit what will grow our young Black boys to deal with real life situations in real life outside of the school system.
For sure. Same question goes for Mr. Richmond. What school practices support or undermine Black students?
So I've had the I would say just the privilege of working in predominantly Black schools, but also white, and just kind of seeing like how students are given consequences on, from both settings, right? And from, I would say, as far as I speak to the Black school districts, predominantly Black, ran from the school board on down to the administration. It's typically, and I think the gentleman just alluded to it, it's the not wanting to suspend, right? It's the numbers games that are played, because you want to show, I would say, good face to whether it's to the school board or just to the outside looking in. So that's a problem, because it's like I'm not here to say, hey, students should be suspended. No, unless everything that occurs is a teachable moment. So now how can we teach this young man or young girl, because we are just talking about Black students as a whole, to like, hey, this wasn't right. I think as far as educators, sometimes they don't understand their role is that you're teaching more than just math and reading. You're teaching students how to behave, how they should act. Because it's like, oh, they should know this when they come to us. No, they don't know they, shouldn't be how they should dress, or they shouldn't use profanity in the presence of an adult, or really at all. Like, because one thing I stress to students, hey, I know you got a larger vocabulary than that. You don't have to use that type of language, but that's what they're seeing. So, so we are fighting against social media and many things. So the school, I think they're lacking. Well, what we're lacking in the school is really just understanding that we're teaching more than just, content, math and ELA. Like, and my time that I spent in, I worked at Urban Prep Academy for Young Men. That was a class that was built on just teaching young men how to be young men, and that was like that was priceless. So that was, so I think that's the biggest support that we're lacking. In my role, I've seen we have these male mentoring programs and even programs for mentoring for young women, and the number of people that don't sign up for the programs, especially for the male mentoring, is crazy. Like, people, or they ask question, how much does it pay? Because at that point it's like, man, you don't just do it. And I understand, hey, time is valuable, but there should be also a level of like, I want to give back, and I'm privileged to work in the school district. I was schooling as an elementary student, and I'm all for giving back. So as far as the supports that are absent are those that just are put in place to help our students understand the trials and tribulation that they're going to go through, and teach them kind of the rights and wrongs as well. The supports that are in place already, I'll be honest with you, I'm still looking. I'm still looking for those that are truly in place. I think, at school district, they talk a good game, but when it's time to put the rubber to the road, no traction.
I get that for sure. All of you guys made some really key points when it came to supporting, I guess, the best practices, man, when it comes to black students. one thing I'm gonna ask you guys is, knowing that you guys are educators, what supports do Black male teachers need in order to be successful? I'm gonna start with you, Dr. Allen.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna add a little bit to the last question, but I think they actually overlap from my seat. I would say thinking about the value of project-based learning, right? This idea that I can demonstrate to you the mastery of my ability to understand the standards through what I'm able to do, as opposed to taking a test, right? Like a traditional test. Morning meeting, right? Like I find that Black people, we need a goal each day to keep us understanding what the North Star is. Again, I think that's the same for students, and that's the same for teachers. That's the same for educators. Like I need to check the pulse of my kids each day to know, hey, this is what we're doing today. It's like a coach. This is, we're going to be relentless today. That's our focus, right? And then every play is going to be around that. Same thing happens in the classroom and schools. Also mindfulness, like that opportunity and permission to really plug into understanding what's going on inside your body and regulating that, right? You might have had a lot of stuff you went through to get out your community on the bus, to get to school. Somebody might have said something to you, and now you got to get your body right before you can get into that academic mindset. So those are the biggest things I would say. But also Black educators, Black males, we need this. We need permission to operate in a space that says we're going to help our community and our students become balanced, right? There's that balance between love, accountability, and then academic push, right? Because one of the brothers said earlier, like you can't set something on fire in the school and then not treat you like you got into a scuffle in the line. That's not the same. Like you could have burned down the whole house, right? So now we gotta deal with that, and we as Black men fear that if we handle our community, whether it be boys or girls, with the love that we know is necessary for them, then our reputation might be on the line, and we know we got to feed our families, right? We know we've been working hard to get to this particular point. So I would say that, and the last point I'll make is we need space to know that what we're going through is not alone. Like we're not alone. That's been one of the challenges I've had all throughout my career. Is like I'm in elementary buildings, and it's like a teacher assistant. That's we the only two Black men in the school, right? And I'm the principal and they're the teacher assistant, right? Then I hire a couple teachers, and then it's just the isolating piece, and we found ourselves just operating with no playbook by ourselves to do the best we can, and we got to pick our battles. So those are the things I would say that are most impactful from my seat.
With that alone time coming in as an educator, do you think that shapes the Black male educator, knowing that it's a lonely road and it's like maybe one or two you guys in a building, maybe 5 at the most in the whole district? Like, do you think that builds grit as a teacher? Do you think it shapes the way you teach completely? Like, do you think it isolates the understanding for the students when it comes to them asking you questions? Like, do you think it broadens it? Or do you think it lessens the global perspective of it's Black educators everywhere, but right here it's only 2 of us, and it kind of gives a stink to education because now, like you said, the Black students don't really see themselves in you when you're teaching because it's not as many. Yeah.
Is that to me or just to the group?
That's to everybody. It's to you since you live. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say it depends on your temperament, right? Like I'm from a family of 5. I got 3 brothers. So not all of us are educators, but I think all of us will respond different to being isolated or alone. Like for me, I'm a sink or swim kind of person. So it's not going to affect me. It's going to increase my urgency. But my other brother who's in the middle, it might cost him his impact is going to be lessened. And then my youngest brother, he might be looking for his exit plan, right? Like quick, because he needs the support in order to be successful. So I do think your personality, your temperament, your experience, your comfort level navigating those systems all determine how you respond to that. For me as a principal who started off at 24, it didn't affect me in the middle of my career towards the end. But at the beginning, I was overthinking everything, and I felt like it definitely diminished my capacity to being able to have an impact. And I think it disproportionately put me into a disciplinary role as opposed to a person who was a creative thinker and who can model a lot of the different things that I went through and connect with my students in different ways. I didn't find that permission until my third or fourth principalship. So,
and that goes. I see everybody shook their head like why do black male teachers have to automatically become the disciplinarian versus, you know what I'm saying, like right away they want to put you in the detention room. Like I don't want to sit in the detention room. I want to teach real curriculum. You know. So this,
And
go ahead.
I do want to piggyback off that because that was a really good point. As a black male educator, right? You're typically like put into that role of, like you said, disciplinarian, or you're a PE teacher, or you're a coach. And even if you come in and want to teach science, they go want you to do something that like you're still gonna, hey, well, I'm gonna send you these kids. They sit in your class, so you can talk to them. Like I'm teaching science. Like even as my role when I tell people, like, I'm a instructional leader. I know curriculum. I know good instruction. I'm here to coach teachers to become better. I don't want to be the person that's telling students all the time to calling parents, give them consequences. So yeah, we as black men, we are put into those roles, and it's sad because it's like, damn, this is what you hired me for to be. And I have this joke, and I probably really means it when I tell my principal, like, I guess I'm just a well-dressed security guard, because that's what I'm doing. I'm walking around with my shirt and tie, and I'm just telling people to sit down, be quiet. And anytime I step out of the line and I do anything more to where I communicate to a teacher about instruction, you don't know what you're talking about. Or you can't tell me that. Or they go through, they go over my head to somebody. And this has happened many times as I've been an administrator. And, but that also leads back to, I think, the previous statement, or question rather, when we think about support. Like, you gotta just know that, you just gotta know you the shit. I'm just gonna call it what it is. Like, in that role of whatever it is, like, hey, I know what I'm doing. I'm qualified, and regardless of what you say, I'm gonna come show up tomorrow, and I'm gonna have the same expectation for you. So, and it's just that, having support is great. The reality is gonna be very few people that look like you within the building as a black male. It might be the gym teacher, but the other piece that you have to understand is that he might be on BS. He might not be the person that you want to kind of model yourself or tie yourself to, because now he's not coming to work as hard as you do. So you still got to stand on your own 2 feet alone, especially when you begin to get out of the classroom and become an administrator, and you somebody who actually want to be looked at as someone who takes the job serious.
Mhm. Yeah.
Can I throw someone?
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Turner.
He said you gotta know you gotta know you that guy, right? And in education, I hear this statement so much of inferiority complex, or what's the other way they said imposter syndrome. Like, I hear that so much in so many rooms. Like, I have imposter syndrome. I have imposter syndrome. And it's like the higher you go up, the more you hear that. And just tying this into, like, how you said, what type of support do like black male educators need? We talk about like the mentoring group for our students, but then we never tie that back in for our teachers, right? Like, we have this book that I was reading. It's from 10 to 25, and it talks about, like, from the age 10 to 25, like even 25-year-olds are still like in the adolescent phase, and we have teachers coming in. Like my man Doc said, he came in, we was 24 years old, and it's like you're an adult, but still looking back now at 37, I could, like, 24-year-old me was a little boy still. I thought I was a grown man at 16, but I was a little boy still 24. So it's like we need those mentoring programs for even our educators, right? Where they get to see, oh, I don't have to just be a gym teacher. I don't have to stay a paraprofessional for 9 years. I don't have to only work from a paraprofessional and then hope one day I could be a security guard. Like, and we can get exposed to these different avenues. One of the most impactful things I ever heard was from my first year as a special education teacher. This white guy came up to me. He was like, "Hey, Turner, you a black guy in special education and you teach math, you will never have to worry about a job." And I had never heard that before. Like I was on pins and needles every day coming to work. Like, oh, I hope I do this right. But I'm going out getting professional development. I'm sharpening my toolkit for myself educationally. But this white guy was the first person that told me, like, you know, your check signed. Like, you got a job. You got to come in here and do something crazy to not have a job as a black man, special education math teacher. And it sucks that I had to hear that from somebody outside that didn't look like me, right? Because that's confidence right there, knowing like those three things sign off. You got a job. Not just hone in on your skills, get better, get sharper. So I think that's another missing sector that we need for our black male educators. Just that room, that mirror to be able to see, like, oh, I could be a principal, I could be an instructional leader. Like we need that also.
Indeed, indeed. So how do we? So we're gonna switch gears real quick. Everybody's been seeing the news. You know, the wild behavior that's been partaken in Chicago. Not only with CPS, but just um, all over. Do you think that a lot of this behavior is because there are not enough things for them to do, as far not enough things for students to do, or do you think it's a combination of parents, teachers? You know, I know Mr. Dalton has the
Yeah.
uh
Yeah.
the dean's, you know what I'm saying? What is it, the dean's list?
The dean's office.
The dean's office.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm gonna let you go ahead, Mr. Dalton. I already
Yeah.
saw your face. I already know you got
Yeah,
this,
yeah, yeah.
man.
So to put this is gonna be my next topic on the dean's office, though. I think we need, because we do look at like, wait, what's going on with the parents? The parenting at home, the parenting ain't the same. And I just want to put a perspective in parenting. Um, I am 38, right? I'm amongst my peers from like maybe 33 and up, 33 to 44. In between that, it's really culturally no difference, especially with the way the social media is. There's no boundary anymore between our 30-year-olds and our teenagers anymore. So that's like obscure. That doesn't exist. Um, what I first like people to understand is that the majority of our youth that's in the streets right now, from let's just say 10 to 17, their parents probably aren't over 38 years old. So the people that you see on a weekend when you go out and you seeing people with, dang, like, oh man, I wouldn't do that, X, Y, and Z. You probably not registering that they have teenagers and they might have 3 or 4 of them. And you're seeing how the behavior is culturally right now across social media amongst all adults. And I always tell adults this, like, because there's no boundary, all the kids see everything you're doing. There's no hiding anything from them anymore. I've seen teenagers with timelines way worse than mine. So what they're viewing culturally and what their parents are viewing culturally is identically the same, and they're behaving the same. So the behaviors right now is not only acceptable, it's championed, because mom is more than likely doing the exact same thing as a 15-year-old. The same music, they eating the same, they're using the same language. That wasn't a thing 20 years ago. When we were teenagers, we wasn't speaking the same as our 30, 35, 40-year-old uncle. So there's no cultural divide. And culturally, what we deem as entertaining and acceptable, from the baddies to the music that we listening to, that constant thing, if it's culturally cool, especially in my household, that's the way I'm going to carry outside of my home. No matter what type of redirection I get at school, I'm going to continue to do that behavior. And I've had parent/student fights at my, where the parents is fighting each other and the students is fighting each other. And it's like this, I can't tell who's who. I don't know the age of any of these people because of the behavior mimics. It looks exactly the same. So everything that we're seeing, they're coming from households where the parents probably act exactly like them. And it's reinforced through their social media feed that they have, because they're younger and younger when they get these devices now. And if there's no discipline, then there's definitely no discipline on what the student or the young child is looking at on a day in, day out basis. And even if they don't agree with it, because we've monetized attention so much, people will look for the wrong thing to do just to monetize that attention. And then that sets the young, malleable minds off in the wrong direction as, oh, this is something I should be doing to acquire currency. So it's a lot of different factors, but for me, it all boils down to what we deem acceptable as a cultural influence right now for the young adults and it trickles on down to the youth.
I mean, drops mic, you know what I'm saying? But anybody else have anything to add to this topic?
Yeah, I'll build off of that. Sorry.
Go ahead, sir.
Sure.
Go ahead.
I'll try to be quick then. The biggest thing I would add to that is just remember that a lot of our students, they're 2 to 3 generations removed from having a consistent father in the household and in their life, right? Because you don't have to be in a household. That does help, right? That's ideal. But as long as you're in your child's life, that gives a sense of safety and identity. But we talking about 2, 3 generations. So to my brother's point about, you know, what we're seeing with their parents didn't have their father, and the kid don't have their father. And so there's a sense of issue with that, because as a sociologist, I mean, the number one variable in our community to determine success for kids is the presence of a father. It isn't to say that moms aren't important, but moms been doing their jobs to the best of the ability they know how for generations. It's the dad who's been out of the household since that late 80s, early 90s, right? Like we've had that attack on us. And so that's affecting the confidence, the desire for students to even see the point of school, right? Because they acting out where we get attention from, right? Through entertainment, through sports, and what's going on in the community, whether it be legal or illegal activities. That's oftentimes what we're seeing bleed over into it. And typically you see the male step in and balance out what's going on with mom. And because mom is dealing with that on her own, that is determining why we're seeing such a bubble up in that perspective. So that's what I would add.
Yeah, my piece was, as I listened to the other brother talk about kind of the parents champion of behavior. And, you know, I just think about, I was having a conversation with them at the school, and I'm like, why are there so many parents calling up here threatening to fight other kids, or either threatening to go, hey, I'm gonna go find this parent and, you know, handle it myself. And it's typically the mother, as the doc talked about the lack of the black fathers, but simply the mother who's calling to protect their black son. And I'm like, man, like, why can't they resolve this with a conversation? Like, we're real big on restorative practices in the building in which I work, and that's something that we push. So we try to have those conversations between students. But if the parents are not willing to have those conversations, then it's like, you know, the kids are learning from their parents. It's like they don't want to talk because my mama handled it one way, and they know that their mom is calling the school and saying all these just random things, threatening kids. And there ain't no way she go get in the building after she issued that threat, because now you already put it out there. But it still is like, yeah, where is the guidance?
So
you know, and that's what we lacking.
That the emotional intelligence and the conflict resolution hasn't even hit the parents yet when it comes to being able to take preventative measures, you know, being more proactive than reactive. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I get it. Man, all I know is, man, we could talk about all this stuff all day, which is a great thing. I know I'm not gonna take up all y'all Saturday, but I'm gonna ask one more question. I want all of you all to chime in. Once again, man, I'd like to thank you guys for joining Black Male Educator Series, The Power of Perspective. So my last question to the panel, it's gonna be a 2-part question. You guys can take any one you want. How do you improve the school culture overall? And how do you do it knowing that Black students have so much going against them, as far as, the president is trying to make sure funding is not available, battling microaggressions and just overall racially biased behavior from its own government? How do you try to change the culture within that climate?
I like, just for me, coming from the high school level, giving my boys space. Because what I saw a lot is the guys that was actually active in the streets, their temperament and the way they carry themselves is completely different when they all alone by themselves. And you start a little kid and pain that they go For me, that's very allowing our young men to have space. I do it. I see young men on the street all the time. I always speak to them, no matter what. I don't care what they look like, what's going on, because you might be the only person to say something to them. So just opening up and allowing that space. And before I go, I want to say, like, I think that the way that school is ran is very archaic and it's not conducive to any of our learning. And the way I would do it, it sounds extreme, but I would limit school to maybe 3.5 hours. And I would dedicate the first 2.5, 3 hours to trauma-based learning and things of that nature, and allowing people to express themselves, and food. Because a lot of our students are coming to school, and if the morning breakfast ain't hitting on nothing, they not really cognitively there until after lunch anyway. Whatever they took in pre-lunch is probably boom and it's gone already. So that's how I would do school as far as the code goes, is that the first 3 hours of school is all based on therapists, social workers, and speaking about things that we've seen and the problems that we go through and how to base that. We'll deal with the education after we have a nice meal. So that's my piece.
Okay.
I would say as we think about like the improvement on someone else is talking.
No, you got it.
Good. Okay. As I think about just the improvement on the school culture is drawing the connection of, like I always say, what it start with the why, right? If we ever, it's a book, start with the why. So we know, okay, we take math class because we need to count money. We learn how to read so we can, find our way with directions and things of that nature, and many other reasons. But I think you always got, students should also know the why in terms of, okay, how is this going to relate to what I want to do later in life? And I'm also a big proponent of vocational skills. So, in high school, we had the auto shop, we have wood shop and various things like that, plumbing and all the different stuff. I think that's something that schools need to also have in even the middle school, to where they are learning those basic skills, just how to change a tire and things like that. And I think just having those skills in there, they see that, okay, I'm building on my vocational skill now here where I'm in middle school going into college. And I'm also learning this trade little by little. So, right, I'm talking about the introduction of trade or more trades within schools. But it's also giving them a reason to go, because there are going to be those students that, like, say, math is going to be a struggle point for them. Reading is going to be a struggle point for them. So give them some other options when they go into that school, to where they can come and to what was said before, right? Meals matter, all that, that definitely matter, because for some of our students, when they come there, that is going to be the only meal they eat for the day. All right. But you got to start building that why, and why students need to come to school. What are they learning from this? How are they going to be utilizing this later, whether it's in their day or years from now? So we just have to, as educators, just kind of see, like, how can we, create that why.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. On my board, I have the standards of whatever we're working on for that day. And on the other side, I have the list of benefits of what we're doing for that day. So they understand the importance of everything, and got to give them a reason why, because they're going to ask,
You're giving them a learning objective. That's what that is. So
Yeah.
you provide them so they know when they finish with this lesson, this is the goal. This is what I'm gonna know by the end. But if
Mhm.
you don't give them that, then they like, what the hell am I doing here?
No, for sure.
And I think just as important as giving the students why is, like, I think I believe men, we're thermostats, right? Like, I think a lot of times the world makes us respond more like a thermometer. So we go off what the temperature is. If it's cold, we cold. If it's hot. But I believe, like, God created us to be thermostats. Like, we set the temperature. And I think that's one of the biggest missing components of the culture of schools. Like, the men, the women coming in and setting the temperature of, like, what this supposed to be. And that starts with you knowing your why. Like, why are you here? If you only here to get a check, go work it forward. I say that's one of my biggest hurdles as a administrator, like, not being able to tell people, like, just leave, like, because you can't say that as an administrator. As a teacher, I could be in the teacher lounge talking crazy all day, but now I have to be more finesse and political with my wording. But I think that's a big component of like why our schools are the way they are. I'm a special education teacher at heart. I believe in the trades at heart. I implemented the trades into project-based learning into the curriculum where I was teaching my kids gardening, I was teaching them culinary, I was teaching them to build based off math and science standards. I didn't have to ask permission to do that because I used the standards they taught, but I just got creative and implemented the skills and the project-based learning because again, I knew some of my students, they ain't gonna be able to afford college. So let's talk to them about college. We're not gonna limit them, but let's get you a way in first, you know. So I think that's the biggest thing. And then just really quickly, the second thing I think we need for like the school culture, I believe every student in a building, no matter where you are, from a magnet school to charter school to public school, should have a not an IEP, but a form of individualized education plan. An individualized education plan ends and starts with your goals, and those goals should be based off your transition plan. Like, what do you want to do after this? And now we're gonna wrap around, we're gonna backwards plan your whole educational journey on how to get to what you're trying to do. And I think if we looked at school like that, it would be more engaging. We'll get way more out of it from our students.
And to add a little bit on that, you could set up classrooms a lot better and put the right students with the other right students so that you're not teaching 4 different classrooms at one time. So yeah, I do that a lot.
Man, I wholeheartedly agree with that one.
Yeah, I love that. Only things I would add, y'all pretty much stole most of my stuff. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing. You got a sharp group here. I would say we are doing this and we don't necessarily realize how abnormal it is for our colleagues across the board. Become family with your students, right? Like at the end of the day, like you got to pick love over professionalism, right? Like even if that's pulling big dog to the side and saying, hey man, hey, I'm doing this because I got nothing but love for you and respect for you. I see you 5 years from now, and I know you got a lot going on, but that has to be the temperament. And I think you know this because I lived through this. This happens to be one of my strengths as an educator. Like if we say failure is not an option, then the whole school system, the whole entire building has to be in line with that, right? Like you saw the radical shift of year 2 at Brooks where we literally changed the grading structure. Kids weren't coming to school. You didn't have an option to fail. You don't got a t-shirt, come in here. We got one for you, go to class. You can't fail. So you don't turn in your assignments. You running missing assignment reports for everybody in the building. And if you don't have your assignments turned in, we pulling you out of lunch. We gonna keep you after school. We feeding you. We got a bus coming to the house. I don't have no excuses for why you not gonna do what you're gonna do if you come to school. Right? Like if you don't want to do that, then you don't come to school. But I think there has to be that aggressive movement that's rooted in love, because I never got one single complaint from parents, but I got a lot of complaints from teachers about what we were doing for students, and they hadn't caught up with the times, right? That was almost 10 years ago, right? Like,
And the greatest part about witnessing that whole transformation was seeing the students come back looking for you to say thank you, and then some of the team knowing the difference it made, like feeling your absence when you left. It was a big hit, man. It was like, wow, how do we go from that to this? You know, it was like, man, it was crazy. It was crazy, but you gave the teachers the autonomy to create their own success based on what you want to do. All right, well, let's get it done. As many meetings that I sat in with you, you just wanted to know how was I going to execute it and how much time I needed and what support that I needed and go.
yep.
And after that, I was just like he's really for this student population, man. Like this is one of the principles that he has to be a pillar here for over he needs to be here for over a decade in order for the students to really be able to benefit, because the turnover rate of principals at that time was crazy, and it's still crazy now.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, we got to have a principal for at least over 5 to 6 years to see the difference, you know. And them bringing sixth grade over to the building also was a big thing too. So it was a positive reinforcement with love, and it was attention based academics at its best, man. Like, and that's why, like, really being able to reach out, like, and having this village of you guys is like, it's crazy because I've
Right.
interacted with all of you in different capacities, but that was one of the most enjoyable times as an educator because you allowed me to do me, and it helped me teach the best way I could, at that time. So appreciate you for that for sure.
No doubt, man. Appreciate that.
And then who else? Did everybody speak? I know my internet was acting crazy.
Yeah, we all spoke.
Okay, cool, man. But I want to thank each and every one of y'all, man. Mr. Dalton, from rocking stages to
Yeah,
South by
bruh.
Southwest to,
So we
you know what I'm saying?
ran like 2 miles to get to our performance. It was
I did. I was running Texas blocks, man. It was
with a
crazy.
table in hand.
Yeah, it was crazy. Um, man, just the amount of love I got for you brothers, man, for real. Mr. Richmond, who gave me perspective at North Park University, man. You know what I'm saying? You kept me in line, man, on that from that football field to the classroom. So I want to appreciate you on that, man. Send a big time salute.
Hey, man, we both from District 205, man, so we had to stick together.
Hey, man, it took me a minute to get over you was from the Ridge. I'm like, you went to the Ridge?
Thornwood, man, get it right. The
Oh,
Oh
see,
yeah,
wood,
hold
yeah,
on,
you
not
hold
the
can't
on.
mix
ridge.
the thorns up, man.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Hold on. Hold on. Mr. Dalton, you was at the Ridge, right?
Yeah, my last year and
See,
a half, I graduated
see,
from Thorn
there we
Ridge.
go. See, I'm getting it mixed up because of that. All right, Thornwood, man. But we all know who the real 205 school is, man. We ain't got to get into all that right now. But
Right.
Mr. Turner. Hey, I appreciate you, man. Definitely. You was hopping flights from Ghana to get on this call, man.
Definitely appreciate you, brother. For sure, for sure.
And we're gonna do this again, man. That's why it's called the Black Male Educators series. We're gonna have a series of these conversations. We're gonna mix it up. We're gonna get educators from all over the globe. And we're gonna do this, man. We're gonna do this. This is gonna be a platform to help improve the culture of Black education. This is gonna be a platform to assist in the contribution to the culture. And so, with that, man, I want you guys to take this with you, man. That you guys are greatly appreciated. You guys are pillars in the community, and the leadership is amazing, man. Just want to say thank you, man. If nobody hasn't said it, I appreciate you guys, and love is love, man, for real.
I appreciate it. It was an honor meeting you all, man. Appreciate y'all and everything that you all are doing as well, man, for real.
Vice versa. Thank you all for what y'all do. Keep up the good work. You got a couple of more weeks before you can take a break.
Yeah.
For sure.
Big,
Same here. Y'all take care.
big
All
time.
right.
EP,
Gentlemen,
thank you,
stay
EP, to our
positive,
super
y'all.
producer.
All right, y'all.
Peace
Y'all
and
have a
love.
good one, man.
All right.
All right, peace.